I guess you could say my theme for my testimony is from fear to trusting God. In my life, there had been many years of inappropriate use of alcohol, and it was my sole mechanism for coping. By the time I finished high school, I was a single mom, striving to ensure a life for my daughter and I. There was very, very little time for me to nurture a relationship with God, or at least I did not make that time. I guess I saw him more like an occasional person to call or friend to call in my time of need. As my life continued on, of course, it began to present challenges, as life often does. I began to abuse and use alcohol as my go-to for everything. My relationship with alcohol had become an addiction. On many occasions, I could feel God tugging at me. He would bring people into my circle to talk to me about the good news of the gospel. I was too busy to slow down to hear them. In the fall of 2014, I recall in bed one morning hearing that still small voice. And the voice came to me and said, "You need to go back to church." And I heard the voice, and I got up, and I got dressed, and I went about my day. Fast forward a few months later, in 2015, the still small voice came back, and the voice said, "You need to go back to church." And that time, I got up and I called my neighbor who lived across the street, Renita Holiness, and I asked her for information on her church, which was Grace Community Church. And I held on to that for about 2 weeks. And one morning, out of the clear blue, I don't know why, I got up and I told my daughter, "Come on, we're going to church." And I would like to say that that was the point in which my addiction was cured, but it was not. In the fall of 2015, the church was offering a workshop, the Alpha Workshop, at the Grosse Pointe War Memorial. So I attended the Alpha Workshop. There was a man there, and he was in my sub-work group. I was still struggling with drinking, and one night I was leaving the Grosse Pointe War Memorial, and he saw me. He caught up with me as I was going into the parking lot, and he asked me if I was okay. So me, thinking he meant where was I parked, I said, "Yes, I'm parked right over there." So I thought he was watching out for me making it to my car at night. But as soon as I pulled out of the parking lot of the Grosse Pointe War Memorial, I heard a voice. And the voice said to me, "That is not what he meant." I started crying, and I drove home, and I said to myself, I said it actually aloud, "Okay, I'll talk to him next week." So next week came, and I went into the workshop, and afterwards, after it was over, I asked him if I could talk to him. And he took me by the hand, and he prayed over me, and I cried, and I felt God. I felt him. And I did exactly what he told me to do. I went to my doctor. I talked to my doctor. I was honest with my doctor. I found a treatment center. I went into the treatment center and checked myself into the treatment center. And eventually I called the number to the person he gave me. He basically laid out everything, but honestly, that was God. It was God, and I have been sober ever since that night. Elder Chris Lacavoli was my angel that night, and I'll forever be grateful, but I know that that was nothing but God using him to do that. Life will continue to bring me trials and tribulations, but I don't need alcohol anymore in my life because I have God.